Everyone, welcome to another Founder Wisdom Podcast, Quantum Edition. Today we have Iris Schwenk with us. She is COO, R&D, and co-founder at HQS Quantum Simulations. Iris, welcome to the pod. Can you tell us about yourself and a bit more about your business?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So at HQS, we create simulation workflows that go down to the quantum mechanical level. And for that, we use high-end simulation methods that run on conventional hardware, but we also develop the algorithms to do that on a quantum computer, which in the future offers kind of big computational power to solve the simulation problems that then can help our customers to speed up their R&D process to build new products. That's what we are doing.
Tell us about
My
the
background
simulation
is,
problem. And yeah, you can proceed with your background as well. That'd be helpful.
yeah, so my background is physics. So I did my PhD in theoretical physics, and our whole founder team comes from this direction.
Right, the simulation problem, tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so we look at simulation problems in different industries, but on many problems people face nowadays, we realize that quantum mechanics plays a role in the effects people see in their products. So, for example, also with a kind of downscaling in the semiconductor industry, we come down to quantum effects more and more. And then it's important to also incorporate this in simulation so that you can predict what your product could be.
All right. And in my mind, it isn't like AI gonna solve this. You put like a quantum formula in there and you tell the AI to actually look at the results of an experiment. You tell if it's right or wrong, and you just let it roll that way. What is HQS approach to that?
Okay, so HQS is currently not using AI. So our methods based on kind of emulating what's happening in nature. So there's quantum mechanics happening in nature, and we take the quantum computer, for example, to kind of emulate what's going on in nature, and with that predict what happens in reality. The approach of AI is different, but if you have kind of, for example, data from the real world that includes quantum mechanics, you can also kind of in some ways predict stuff with AI that includes quantum mechanics. And also there are options to kind of use the quantum computer to enhance this even further. Yeah.
Right. Because in my mind, quantum implies a bunch of numbers and a bunch of probabilities, which is why I think machine learning would add value. Am I right or wrong in thinking this?
So in terms of simulating quantum mechanics or simulating the nature, this is a bit kind of different. We just, on the quantum computer, we can exactly kind of reproduce the state space that somehow describes nature, and kind of work in this full state space. And this is what we do on a quantum computer. Yes, working with probabilities is definitely connected to quantum, but kind of the connection is not so clear, I would say.
Right. What kind of quantum computer are you using? What was the cost of it? And is it like in your labs, or is it remote from a distance?
This is remote. So we access quantum computers via cloud interfaces. But what is important to say is that the current hardware is not sufficient to really bring value to a customer.
When do you think? Yeah, when do you think we'll see a revolution happening in quantum? First, from the quantum computer level, and second, understanding our world better or more fundamentally with the quantum science.
Yeah. So quantum computers, we hoped already that this state would have kind of be reached now, but the hardware development is a bit slower than we had initially hoped for. But we can see that at least in the area of quantum simulations, already in the near future, so in the coming years, there could be a possibility that we really achieve what is called quantum advantage. So doing something on a quantum computer that's important and that we cannot do like on other devices.
Do you think quantum is fundamental to the road to AGI, or can AGI be reached without quantum computing?
So I think quantum computing offers a lot of possibilities, but yeah, this is kind of a hard statement to make.
Yeah, it is. What company is at the forefront when it comes to uh, quantum computing? And what company is at the forefront when it comes to quantum software and simulations, the area you're in?
Yeah, so it's clear that we view ourselves as having a very good position on the software space. In the hardware, it's clear that companies like Google and IBM are currently having really good devices, especially Google has most probably maybe the best devices. But it's unclear which technology really will scale. So which hardware approach is really like revolutionizing the big quantum computers.
Do you think that science is not advancing quick enough because scientists are so siloed and they're not generalists, they're more specialists. And because they are specialists, they don't get data from other sciences, and that prevents drastic acceleration.
Yeah, I think nowadays like the science is so broad and so complex that you cannot just be generalist. So that's kind of, I think the time's over. But that definitely kind of create situations in which we kind of double work or kind of slow down. Yeah. But for us as a company, kind of being still scientists, but going out of academia and kind of founding a company really sped up a lot. So we kind of get a lot of speed
Yeah,
on the road now.
that was pretty bold. Not a lot of researchers do that. So tell us about your jump from academia to business and what motivated you to do it.
Yeah. So during my PhD, a lot of important findings and also like realizations on the hardware side happened, and we saw that really quantum computing can be now applied to industry, or we should start really talking to industry and bringing it to real value, and this is not possible from within university from what we saw. The decision was, if you want to kind of really create something and be part of this this process, then it was necessary for us to kind of leave university. And then we decided to do that. But very important was also that we very early on had customers that really believed in us and wanted to work with us, so that we also could make some money from the start on. Yeah.
Was it stressful for you? How was the environment different from pure lab to having some dollar signs and capitalism in the equation?
It started to be really stressful when you have kind of a bunch of employees and you really have to pay salaries. Yeah, then it starts to be stressful if it's not only about you. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. It's one of the most stressful aspect of a business, being responsible for people and their needs, and them putting
Exactly.
all of their needs on you, right? Like from one day to another, it's not their accountability anymore. It's like it's not really the results they provide. It's more like, hey, my paycheck, right? Human nature kind of. Last question, or amongst the last questions I have for you, who do you target and what are your strategies when it comes to targeting them and converting them into clients?
Yeah, so we have some kind of segmentation here. So on the one hand, we work a lot with academia or in academic institutions, because as long as the quantum computer is not fully kind of valuable for industry, it can already be very valuable for researchers. Yeah, so this is kind of the first customer base somehow, and this works pretty different from industry customers. Yeah. But for that, we have a very good opportunity in Germany right now, since government is spending a lot of money kind of funding research in quantum computing. And so there are a lot of possibilities to sell to academia. And for industry, we really need to prove that value can be brought with our solution, and that makes the process very different. Yeah.
What about quantum safety? There's like the AI safety convo that's going on. How do you scientists, I mean, you're not in the game of creating computers that might like absorb the full world in a millisecond, but how do you treat safety? Because these tools could also be used for wrong purposes, as always. How do you approach that problem?
Yeah, so we regularly kind of discuss also when customers approach us, depending on the simulation questions you look at, this can definitely be used in very broad contexts. So we definitely discuss that within also our employees and in the team. But I think the most threat kind of somehow comes in quantum computing from the things that relate to breaking cryptography, and this is currently not within reach at all. Yeah, so that this is not bothering us right now.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you would straight up refuse these type of clients that would want to do these things or like simulate a nuke or something. Um, but yeah, like quantum is underlying between pretty much everything in this reality, which is really fascinating. Can you tell us about an uncommon way in which quantum acts and we don't really know, for example, synthesis, or another like use case in which quantum underlies or natural reality and we don't really realize it?
Yeah, so like an interesting topic is in or in kind of converting sunlight to usable energy, yeah, to electricity. We see that nature is doing this pretty well in photosynthesis, and researchers cannot 100% explain how this is done so energy efficient within the plant. So, and understanding this better definitely relies on understanding more of the quantum effects that happen there. And with simulation, this could be understood better. But
Yeah.
our quantum computers are not on the kind of position to do that now.
Yeah, a funny thing, I think, like in psychology, when we don't really know like the why of why something happens, we say, oh, it's the subconscious. I feel that everything in science nowadays that we don't know really how it happens, we say it's quantum. It's like
Yes.
quantum physics. What do you think about that?
That is very interesting, and that is unfortunately not true. Yeah, if quantum physics would be kind of more important, we would have easier ways to kind of convince our clients. But often we look into it and in the end decide, okay, maybe quantum mechanics is not kind of the most important problem here right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we could talk about it from a whole bunch of perspective. How life comes, for example, or hard problems we haven't cracked, cancers. They're like a quantum aspect to it, cell division and so forth. Mitochondrias, and I mean, there's so much like mysteries in this world, and it's kind of fascinating that you get to spend your days on that. You and your colleagues often have deep philosophical questions about the nature of life.
Yeah. So quantum physics makes you think a lot about kind of our understanding of the world. Also, this kind of ideas of the collapsing wave functions, kind of what happens when we measure something and look at it. Yeah. Quantum physics offers a lot of kind of philosophical things to discuss. But in the end, in our company, we kind of look at the math, and the math is pretty clear. Yeah. And then it's pretty easy.
Right.
But from time to time, you think again about it. Yeah.
Yeah, last question, because I know both of us need to go. Where would you look for quantum answers? Do you feel that black holes would be one of the greatest source to get answers? What are some uncommon ways you would look in to get better mathematical answers to quantum mechanics?
Oh, kind of, we understand the math behind quantum mechanics kind of pretty clearly. It's more that calculating it for an actual problem is what we cannot do. Yeah. And that's why we want to kind of make use of the quantum computer that can do it for us. Yeah. That's kind of the
Right. So what you're
underlying
saying is
thing.
that you can look for quantum answers in your own backyard. You don't need to look in weird sources elsewhere in the universe. But why are people saying that black holes contain the keys to unlocking many quantum secrets of our universe?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that is correct. Going on the large scale topics, the connection to quantum physics is also something that is kind of a big thing to understand. Yeah, I agree. But that's definitely not what we are doing.
Right. Okay. Well, Iris, where can people find out more about you and HQS?
You can visit our webpage, quantumsimulations.de, or you can also connect with me on LinkedIn.
All right. Love it. Thank you.